All right, so we're going to look at polynomials in factored form. So we looked yesterday, I mentioned to you that when you have the factored form of a polynomial, I'm going to go ahead and write one example here, that the whole purpose of factoring that is so that you can see what the zeros are. Those zeros are the x-intercepts. So when I'm asking for zeros, I'm asking myself, what would make what number would make each factor equal to 0? What number would make each factor equal to 0? Okay, so when I'm looking here and I'm trying to find my zeros, what would make x equal to 0? Well, if x was 0. Second factor, what would make x plus 7 equal to 0? Well, if x was negative 7. What would make x plus 4 equal to 0? If x was 4. So those are my 3 zeros for this equation. So what we're going to do in this today is we are going to use synthetic division to get the polynomial down to a quadratic. And then we're going to be able to factor one more time, and we'll be able to see all of our zeros. All right. So reminding you, once you get it down to a quadratic, if you're factoring, you can use greatest common factor, you can use difference of squares, you can use trinomial factoring. Any kind of factoring we know is what we're going to be using. So when it says that the x equals 0, that means one of my factors is x minus 0, because 1 would make this factor equal to 0. So one of my factors is x minus 0, and one of my zeros is 1. So we're going to go ahead and use synthetic division and this 0. So when you're looking here, double check, make sure everything is covered. I've got 3, let me move it up just a little. There we go. I've got x to the 3rd, 2nd, 1st, and no x. I don't have any open gaps to worry about. So I've got 1, 3, negative 25, and 21. Out here goes my 0, my root 1. Remember, when it came out of here, it changes sign. If I give it to you, it's already the correct sign. So the first line goes straight down. Multiply, write it, combine. Multiply, write it, combine. Multiply, write it, combine. So my answer, as it shows up here, I started with x cubed. I lose 1 degree. This is my x squared, my x, my constant, and my remainder. So this equals x squared plus x, plus 4x, forgot my 4 there, minus 21. Now I've got it down to a quadratic, and I'm ready to factor it one step further. So what are the factors of 21 that subtract to be 4? Well, my factors of 21, 7 minus 3. So positive 7, negative 3. X plus 7, x minus 3. So if I look at these two factors, what will their zeros be? Let's look at all of our zeros. Our zeros are, we already know the 1. What would make x plus 7 equal to 0? Well, if x was a negative 7. What would make x minus 3 equal to 0? If x was a positive 3. Those are my 2, 3 zeros. We're going to go ahead and write the equation in its fully factored form. So we started out with this equation. Once factored, we have f of x equals, here's my first factor we had, x minus 1. Here's the other 2 factors I came up with. If I multiplied out these 3 factors, I would end up right back here where I started. And my zeros are 1, -7, +3. All right, let's look at example number 2. Example number 2, I've given you 1 0. That means one of the factors is x plus 5. Let's check to make sure all of our holes are covered before we do the synthetic division. So we've got x cubed, x squared, x, oops, I'm missing my constant, so I want to put a plus 0 there. So when we write it up, we got 1 minus 1 minus 30, 0, being divided by a -5. This is the 0 I put out here. 0. First number straight down, multiply, write it, combine. Multiply, write it, combine. Multiply, write it, combine. I started with x cubed. I lose 1 degree when I divide. So I've got x squared, x, constant, and remainder. So x squared minus 6x plus 0. I don't need to write the plus 0. This is what I'm looking to factor. Greatest common factor. They have an x in common. So I'm going to pull out the x times x minus 6. Okay, so now I've got 1 factor, 2 factors, 3 factors. If I were to write the equation, I would have f of x equals x times x minus 6 times x plus 5. When things are multiplying, the order you write them in doesn't matter. So if I wrote these in the different, if I put x plus 5 and then x minus 6, it would be fine. If I put this x at the end, it would be fine. This is the fully factored form. So my zeros are x equals 0. What would make x minus 6 equals 0 if x was 6? X plus 5 equals 0. X is -5. Those are my 3 zeros. Remember, when we go to graph, those are going to be the spots where the graph hits the x-axis. All right, let's look at the back. Okay, now I've been given 2 zeros. That means I already know 2 of the factors. Okay, 2 of the factors are x plus 4 and x minus 2. I already know both of those. So I'm going to start one at a time dividing. So let's check. I've got x to the 4th, x cubed, x squared, x, and my constants. So everything is in line. 1, 2, -12, -8, 32. Divide that by a -4. So first one comes straight down. Multiply, write it, combine. Multiply, write it, combine. Multiply, write it, combine. Multiply, write it, combine. So I started with x to the 4th. So in my first multiplication, I lost 1 degree. X cubed is my biggest degree for this line. Instead of writing it all out, I'm going to go ahead and just keep dividing, because now I need to divide by a positive 2. If I was going to write it out, this would be x cubed minus 2x minus 4x, x cubed minus 2x squared minus 4x. But that's what we already have here, so we're not going to worry about it. Plus 8. Wow, Miss Mendez, you should wake up. All right, but we don't have to write this out because we're just going to divide one more time. Now we're going to divide by the 2. First number comes straight down. Multiply, write it, combine. Multiply, write it, combine. Multiply, write it, combine. So I had x to the 4th, I dropped to x cubed, now I drop to x squared, x, and my constant. So I've got x squared minus 4, and this is what I want to factor. All right, well, hopefully we're starting to notice this is a difference of squares, x times x, 2 times 2. So my factored form is x plus 2 times x minus 2. So I now have 1, 2, 3, 4 factors. So f of x equals x plus 4 times x minus 2 times x plus 2 times x minus 2, but since I already have x minus 2 written here once, let's just put a squared there. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 factors. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is my factored form. So my zeros are, let's look at the first one, negative 4, positive 2 twice, but I only write each number one time, and negative 2. Those are my zeros. Okay. That's not hard. It's pretty good. All right. Last one. Let me take a quick look. Okay. Last one. Check. 4, 3, 2, 1, no x. So we're good. We have 2 zeros. Let's put what those are as factors. X minus 3. That 0 comes out as a 3. X plus 1. That 0 comes out as a negative 1. So we have 2 factors already. We're going to go ahead and divide. 1 minus 10, 29 minus 8 minus 48. What are we dividing by? Let's divide by the 3 first. First number comes straight down, and then I start my process. Multiply, write it, combine. Multiply, write it, combine. Multiply, write it, combine. Multiply, write it, combine. All right? That took care of the 3. We're going to divide by the negative 1. Negative 1. First comes straight down. My process begins. Multiply, write it, combine. Multiply, write it, combine. Multiply, write it, combine. I started with x to the 4th. My first division got me x cubed. My next division drops to x squared. Each division loses 1 degree. X cubed, x to the 4th, x cubed, x squared. So that's x squared, x, constant, and remainder. X squared minus 8 plus 16 and we need to go ahead and factor that. Oops, that should be a 16. Make sure you fix that. That should be a 16. So what are the factors of 16 that add to negative 8? If they're going to add to be a negative 8, they have to both be negative. So the factors of 16 that add to 8 are 4 and 4. So I've got x minus 4, x minus 4. So let's go ahead and write. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 factors. We've got f of x equals, let's start with this one, x minus 4. Instead of writing it again, we're just going to put the squared. And then we have x minus 3 and x plus 1. All right, so my zeros, I have 4 factors. So x minus 4 equals 0. X will be 4. That happens twice, but we only write it one time. X minus 3 equals 0. X is 3. X plus 1 equals 0. X is negative 1. Those are my 3 zeros. Okay? Awesome. It's good. I'm going to have the sub put the answer key up at the front here on the desk. So if you want to come and check it, you're welcome to. If someone would make sure they log off the video so that the next period can log in. If we forget to log off, there's a chance the computer will lock us out and we'll have to restart. So remember to log off. All right, I miss you. Have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow. Work hard.